back, fellow readers and movie lovers. Welcome to Frustrated Book Purists. In this series, we compare movie adaptations of the books to the original source material. As a reminder, these are just our personal opinions, not the views of the library.
These are ours. We claim them.
They're a bit controversial sometimes. We are here strictly to let you know how the adaptation compares to the book or books. This month, oh man.
Can you possibly guess what we're talking about this month?
We made it kind of obvious this month. We are comparing the first two and only, thank goodness, films that were adapted from the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series by Rick Riordan. As big Percy Jackson fans, this has been on both Lauren and my minds since we started kind of formulating the idea for this series. Like, just thinking about the Percy Jackson series gets us absolutely ranty about these movies. And it's been a while since we've had one of those comparisons. So we were like, why not?
We need to put the frustrated back into Frustrated Book Purists.
Yes.
We were being a little too nice.
We were. So we have let the anger boil. I have scripted some of this just to get through the basic information before we start ranting. Just to rein it in just a little bit. And we're doing this, I think, particularly because both of us are so excited about the upcoming streaming series that will be coming out, that Rick Riordan is very much more involved in. Like, he's an executive producer on it and so forth than he was with these.
So, for those of you who have not read the Percy Jackson series or seen the movies, Percy Jackson is about a boy who is the son of Poseidon and a human woman, also known as a demigod. And the premise of the books is that the Greek mythologies are real. The gods are real, the monsters like the Minotaur are real, and they're still around. They've just moved to America, and regular humans can't see them because of something called the mist that makes mythological things look like regular human things. Demigods are constantly in danger because they can see both worlds, and the monsters don't like them. Sometimes they anger the gods. And one of the only safe places for them is Camp Half-Blood. Demigods will go there to train. Some stay for the summer, some stay for the whole year. And they are occasionally sent out on quests. So The Lightning Thief is the first book in the series, and that is all about Percy coming to realize that he is a demigod. And he's in trouble because Zeus's master lightning bolt has been stolen. And Zeus is blaming Poseidon and believes that Poseidon used Percy to steal the bolt.
Let's also discuss Sea of Monsters, because in Sea of Monsters you have a much more, not necessarily confident Percy, but you have a Percy that is more familiar with the world that he's been thrown into. He's spent some time at Camp Half-Blood. He's back. This is the second summer that he is back at camp. The events from book 1, where we learn that, spoilers, Luke is the son of Hermes, is the actual lightning thief. And he is doing that because he is angry at the gods, at his father. Those events are continuing because he does want to start a war by bringing back Kronos, the Titan.
Dun, dun, dun.
Ugh, scary stuff. Luke attacks Camp Half-Blood, and at the beginning of the book, you learn of Thalia, who is a daughter of Zeus.
Well, yeah, actually, so you actually learn about Thalia in The Lightning Thief.
Oh,
and
that's
you
right.
learn about
Yeah.
Luke and Annabeth and Thalia's backstory in The Lightning Thief. The movie just decided it didn't have time for that, so poor Sea of Monsters had to do, like, double duty.
You learn that Annabeth, Luke, and Thalia all come to camp at the same time, but Thalia never makes it into camp because she is killed. But being a daughter of Zeus, he intervenes by bringing her back as a tree, big evergreen tree, that also is the starting point for an invisible barrier that protects camp. Well, when Luke starts to attack camp, that barrier and Thalia's tree is poisoned and the barrier starts to disintegrate. So, Clarice, you do not get to meet in the movie The Lightning Thief, sent on an official quest to bring back
The Golden Fleece.
the Golden Fleece. I'm like, I totally blanked on what they're bringing back.
So Percy and Annabeth want to go on the quest. Percy's motivation was, yeah, he wants to save Camp Half-Blood and he wants the fleece, but he's also been getting dreams about Grover being in trouble, so he wants to go save him.
Yeah, because Grover's on his own quest to find Pan. In describing the movies, viewers might believe the films are a good adaptation. I know. But listen, I have a good point.
Okay.
At its heart, it is about a boy named Percy Jackson, who discovers he's a demigod, who is sent on a quest to find Zeus's lightning bolt after being accused of being the thief to prove his innocence. In Sea of Monsters, Camp Half-Blood is attacked, and the tree, the immortalized demigod daughter, the protector, starts to die. A quest is named, and once more Percy and Annabeth head out on their own quest to save the tree and camp with the Golden Fleece. Former camper is also searching for the Golden Fleece so that he can bring back Kronos.
The devil is in the details.
Yes, that is exactly it. In the broadest strokes, that is what the books are about. But it is tiny brush strokes that make the full picture, and the movies paint an extremely different picture. This is what we're both feeling.
Despair.
Our grievance with the Lightning Thief, and even Sea of Monsters to a point, is those tiny brushstrokes, the Kronos in the details. The base of all of this is the lack of emotional weight and support that the books have, the film adaptations don't offer you. And we've mentioned emotional weight. This is a big problem that Laura and I have with the movie. Percy's grief is handled throughout the series because it's something he keeps reflecting back on, even though Sally, his mother, is, spoilers, brought back at the end.
Yeah.
She's not actually dead. But for that first book, that is something that he is, and speaking of someone who's had a loss of a parent, it is traumatizing.
Yeah, he's 12 years old and he's lost his mom.
I know, and I can't, I'm dealing with this in my 30s. I can't imagine dealing with it as a middle schooler who has just found out that he's a demigod.
Yeah.
That he's thrust into this completely different world.
It's almost like painful watching the movie. You can tell they're really trying to have their Harry Potter, welcome to Diagon Alley, welcome to Hogwarts, look at all this cool stuff. There's centaurs over there, there's dryads and naiads, Percy, you're a god. And it's like, his mom just died.
Like and he wakes up and it's 3 days later.
Yeah.
Like he's been unconscious. And he's thrust into this new world. And he's like, dude, give me a moment. And in the book, he gets those moments.
Yeah, like, this is not the time for Grover to be going, oh, the daughters of Aphrodite. Bye, Percy. I gotta go hang out with them.
Yeah. Not cool, bro. Not cool, bro. And Grover would not do that.
No, he would not.
He's not the horny teenager that the movie portrays him at. Like, he cares more about Percy, his best friend, and yes, he's Percy's protector, than he does getting a date with a naiad or hooking up with Persephone.
And, like, the conflict with the gods, the way all of that's handled in the book, it's a very serious thing that the gods are fighting.
Oh,
and that Percy's been accused. When he goes to the Underworld and says, I'm not the thief, Hades understandably doesn't believe him. And it takes basically everyone witnessing Percy's fight with Ares to realize, oh, we all got played.
Wait, his fight with Ares?
Yeah.
What do you mean his fight with Ares?
Oh, yes, the fight with Ares. That didn't happen
in the movie.
Instead, Percy has a fight with Luke, which apparently the gods didn't see, even though it was happening literally right outside Olympus.
I had a question about that. Like, how do they not know that a huge fight, and Poseidon, with his knowledge of water, know that Percy is right outside breaking water towers?
I guess they were just too wrapped up in their own fight, which, fair. They do that sometimes. Yeah, all it takes is Percy walking into the throne room and just being like, hey guys, hey Zeus, here's your lightning bolt. And he's like, thank you, lightning thief. Like, oh, I'm not the thief. Oh, really? Then who was? Oh, it was Luke. Oh, okay. Why would Luke do this?
That's all okay?
Yeah. Like, why would Luke do this? Oh, well, because he's mad at you guys. Okay. Like, they just believe him.
When I first watched this movie, I was like, oh, this is going to be the only movie they're pulling in parts from, like, books 4 and 5, because that relationship has built then for those 5 books, and that's kind of what they come to by the end of the series. But no!
For Zeus to, like, be ready to start a war with his brothers over his stolen bolt, and then just accept Percy's explanation just like that, like, and, Speaking of the theft, there was a perfectly good plot there. Percy going to the Underworld because he believes Hades stole the bolt and wants to get it back, as opposed to the movie where Hades challenges him to, he's like, bring me the bolt, lightning thief, and I'll give you your mother back. And Percy's like, well, I don't have the bolt. So my plan is to go down to the Underworld and tell Hades that I don't have the bolt. And then he will let my mother go.
Yo, uncle, give my mom back.
Where's the logic in that?
I don't know you, nephew.
You had a good motivation for Percy to go to the Underworld. Why?
We need to condense it. No. It takes you longer to explain the new reason than it does to go with the original. Grover is this wonderful character. He's warm, he's bright, he's funny. He's Percy's best friend. And because of incidents in the first book that were not handled in the movie, surprise, surprise, they have a telepathic link. Now, this does not play a part in the first book, but it plays a huge part in the second movie and the second book when Grover leaves to go on a quest to find Pan, because that's what satyrs do. And Percy starts getting dreams of Grover in a Cyclops cave, funnily enough, dressed in a wedding dress, speaking in a falsetto. And this is one reason why Percy and Annabeth head out when Clarice is given the quest to find the Golden Fleece. Grover is their main concern, but they kind of end up going the same way because it's all leading to the same point. Mm-hmm. And in the movie, like, Grover is simplified so greatly. He is a satyr looking to get laid.
Yeah, that's basically it.
And he's the same age as Percy. Maybe a year or two.
No, technically he looks the same age. Satyrs are
older.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, dude.
No.
Yeah, he wants a girlfriend, but that's not his main concern. And he's just not Percy's protector.
That's the other thing. Like, he keeps saying over and over again, I'm your protector, I'm your protector, I'm your protector.
I'm going to sacrifice to do this.
Because I'm your protector. Like, he had other dialogue, you know.
He had a lot of great dialogue. And then with Annabeth, like...
I definitely have strong feelings for you. Just haven't decided if they're positive or negative yet.
There are books, YA books, that are written with the instant love trope. I have a problem with it, but when you're given such a prime example, the perfect example of hatred to friendship to love interest over a series of 5 books, you don't need the insta-love trope.
No, they had such a great, like, natural development. They didn't like each other at first, and then and over the course of the first quest, they learned to respect each other, and the end result of that is that they've become friends. Imagine that. And
what a great novel idea. Really. And I think the major part of this, like, I have a major problem with the aging up of the characters. Logan Lerman is an excellent choice for Percy. He looks just like Percy, but it would have had a much better outcome if we saw a 12-year-old actor in that role, because there are certain struggles that are just kind of self-evident, and the way your body moves and everything at that age.
Stuff that's unique to middle schoolers.
Yeah.
So one of the big issues with the movie, I think, like, this was one of the things that really got under my skin, was how they handled the relationships between the Greek gods and their children. In the book, there is a lot of discussion and a lot of, like, examining the fact that the Greek gods are really terrible parents. Some of them don't claim their kids. Like, some of the demigods spend their entire time at camp in the Hermes cabin because they don't have anywhere else to go. Their parent hasn't claimed them. And all of them struggle to different degrees with having at least one half of their family that's just never there for them. It's a big part of Luke's motivation. That festers a lot of his anger, and that's what drives him to steal the lightning bolt and side with Kronos.
And I think it's a lot of the motivation, and you see this more in the second book as you do in the second movie, is those are the kids that Luke pulls in and away from camp for his army with Kronos.
Yes. And there's also a lot of anger from Luke about Thalia dying, his friend, and feeling like Zeus should have intervened and helped her more than he did. Like, all he did basically was turn her into a tree after she was dying. Like, thanks.
Great job, Zeus.
And Percy has a lot of conflict too. Over the course of the series, he comes to have a more favorable opinion of Poseidon. But initially, he's just kind of like, you weren't there for me. You weren't there for my mom. He's watched his mom suffer in this abusive marriage with his stepdad, and he resents that Poseidon didn't do more for them. We get to the end of The Lightning Thief, and he's meeting his dad for the first time, and his reaction is, I got the feeling Poseidon really didn't know what to think of me. He didn't know whether he was happy to have me as a son or not. In a strange way, I was glad that Poseidon was so distant. If he tried to apologize or told me he loved me or even smiled, it would have felt fake. Like a human dad making some lame excuse for not being around.
But that... Wait, isn't that what happens?
Isn't that what happens in the
movie?
Yes! The movie invents this whole thing where Poseidon really does love Percy, and he really did want to be there for him, and he really just wanted to have a big happy family with him, Sally, and Percy. But mean old Zeus made a law and forbade the Greek gods to talk to their children ever.
No, the rule was that the big three, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, couldn't have children.
They weren't allowed to have affairs with mortal women anymore.
World War
II,
the big three couldn't have children, demigod children.
Yeah.
It wasn't when Poseidon hooked up with Sally.
And there is nothing with the Greek gods really wanting to talk to their kids. They're just not allowed to because Zeus won't let them. One of the things that frustrates me about this, and I don't think this was the screenwriter's intention, but it almost puts the burden and the blame on the kids. Like, you just need to be a little more understanding. Your deadbeat parent really wanted to be there for you. They just couldn't. And can't you be more understanding of that? Instead of putting the blame where it belongs.
On the Greek god who's millennia old.
Yeah, with the parent that chose not to be there.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Gabe. Gabe is actually much more important and I like Gabe obviously. I like Gabe so much better in the books because he has purpose. And it's explained.
Yeah. Well, it does get explained in the movie, but it's very...
It's so poorly done.
Yeah.
And he has much more important role in the book.
I think, too, I think Gabe is more or less the same in the movie. I think the issue is more Sally. She's a more well-rounded character in the books.
Oh, definitely.
I don't know how they would have done this in the movie, but they left out the whole thing with Sally and Percy and blue food.
Oh, I know.
How Gabe insisted there is no blue food, so she's stuck in this abusive marriage with this guy, and her way of kind of lashing out a little bit was that she would constantly buy blue food, and she and Percy would eat it in front of him. But in the movie, Sally just...
They play her as the, woe is me, I'm in an abusive relationship, I put up with it. But they don't tell you why she puts up with it. It's because Gabe is like the most mundane human and smells really bad to monsters.
Yeah.
Like, they don't explain that part of it. And that, going back to the emotional weight that we were speaking of earlier, they don't get to the root of things.
Yeah.
They gloss over everything. And I'm like...
Just promise me that I don't have to see that loser Gabe ever again.
I kicked him out. Yeah, he's gone. He's out of our lives forever.
Finally.
Like, not that they go on and give Sally Medusa's head, and she ends up turning him into a statue, and goes back to school, and actually becomes like an artist, and like...
Yeah, and gets
all these really cool things. Sorry.
Gets married to a really nice guy.
I know! He's such a great stepdad.
With abusive marriages and abusive relationships, they're not all going to look the same. So
exactly.
Some people are going to just take it, and some people are going to fight back, and some people are going to be like Sally, where they endure it most of the time, but find little ways to... Like, I don't want to, like, say that this is more realistic than this version or anything like that. Just that...
We are speaking within the confines of this story.
Mm-hmm.
And we are specifically speaking about Sally and Gabe and the effect on Percy as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's not to discount any other realistic relationships.
Right. Like, movie Sally is not at fault for how she reacts.
Exactly.
It's more just that book Sally was
Has more depth.
More depth. That's the right way. That's the right word I was looking for. And it's
I thought so.
frustrating to see the movie kind of ignore that, gloss over that.
And in a way makes that abusive relationship worse because you don't see the hope in her situation. Sally kicks butt. Like, she is so awesome. Like, she ends up being like really good friends with Annabeth and Grover and involved in Percy's life. And it's awesome that she has that.
Yeah, and we've talked too about how, like, the movie handled Percy grieving over her and ways to get her back from the Underworld. Which, speaking of the Underworld,
My time to shine has come.
it has.
All of those hours of researching Hades and Persephone and reading retellings of their myth has finally paid off.
Me, I just stared flabbergasted at my TV as I was watching the movie in rage over how they ruined the best plot twist in the book.
Why don't you talk about that first?
They ruined the best plot twist in the book. What am I supposed to say to that? Chris Columbus, you're a good director. You made the first two Harry Potter movies and they were really good, but, like, can you imagine if Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the movie, had it turn out that actually Professor Snape was the guy that was trying to steal the Sorcerer's Stone and Quirrell was just Quirrell? Like, that is what would happen with this book and this movie.
This is so amusing.
No, but, like, Rick Riordan set this up so beautifully. Like, in the first part of the book... I'm glad you're enjoying this. The first part of the book, when Percy's getting assigned his quest, it's all, Zeus's lightning bolt has been stolen. It must have been Hades. And that plays on people's common perception of Hades, that he's kind of like the Greek version of the devil. And
Not true.
Not true. And Hades is not the devil, and the Underworld is not hell. There is the Fields of Punishment, but there's also the Fields of Asphodel for people who are just okay, and the Fields of Elysium for good people. That's kind of like the Greek version of heaven. So anyway, so the book builds off of this idea that Percy, Grover, and Annabeth are going on a quest to the Underworld to get back Zeus's lightning bolt, because Zeus thinks Percy stole it, and he's going to prove it wasn't him. It was actually Hades. Big, bad, evil Hades who stole the bolt because he wants a war with the gods. He wants there to be all this mass death so it will strengthen his kingdom and he can take over the world and all that. And then they get to the Underworld.
And Hades is just a beleaguered businessman.
And he is so mad that anyone would even think that he'd steal a bolt or that he'd want war.
I want to read this part because it is so perfect.
It's hilarious.
Have you any idea how much my kingdom has swollen in the past century alone? How many subdivisions I've had to open? I opened my mouth to respond, but Hades was on a roll now. More security ghouls, he moaned. Traffic problems at Judgment Pavilion. Double overtime for staff. I used to be a rich god, Percy Jackson. I control all the precious metals under the earth. But my expenses! Chiron wants a pay raise, I blurted, just remembering the fact. As soon as I said it, I wish I could sew up my mouth. Don't get me started on Chiron, Hades yelled. He's been impossible ever since he discovered Italian suits. Problems everywhere, and I've got to handle all of them personally. The commute time alone from the palace to the gates is enough to drive me insane. And the dead just keep arriving. No, godling, I need no help getting subjects. I did not ask for this war. But you took Zeus's master bolt. Lies! More rumbling. Hades rose from his throne, towering to the height of a football goalpost. Your father may fool Zeus, boy, But I am not so stupid. I see his plan.
So there you have it. Hades did not steal the bolt. He is not the bad guy, despite the common misperception that he is. The movie has Hades visiting Camp Half-Blood in the form of a demon in the campfire and tells Percy that he wants the lightning bolt. He knows Percy stole the lightning bolt, and he wants Percy to bring it to him, and if he brings it to him, he'll give him his mom back. It does a huge disservice to Hades' character, where now he is that power-hungry god that just wants to take over the world.
This is a map to Persephone's pearls.
Persephone? You mean Hades' wife?
Yeah, he forced her to marry him. Keeps her prisoner.
Needless to say, she hates it there. It's hot, he's a weirdo.
So, Sarah, do you want to talk about the loveless marriage between Hades and Persephone as shown in the movie?
Listen here.
Oops. They've attacked her OTP.
That's exactly what they've done. Even
okay.
if you haven't done any studying of the Greek myths, you kind of know the general Hades Persephone myth. There's a lot of like different versions that have minor differences to them, but the general thing is, so Hades came up to the mortal world, saw Persephone, was attracted to her, fell in love. Yes, it's all like that insta-love thing with the Greek gods. Went to Zeus, and because he went to his horn dog of a brother, Zeus, Zeus was like, kidnap her, turn into an animal. That's always worked for me. And this is why I love Underworld so much. And I'll link it below. It's a great web comic that is now printed in comic format, because Hades is like, that doesn't sound like a great idea. Instead of going to Demeter, core Persephone's mother, they go through with the kidnapping. Like, oh, okay, yeah, Big Brother knows best. Demeter goes crazy, brings like winter to the world. During Persephone's time in the underworld with Hades, grows to maybe not love him, but to see he is very different than how he is portrayed in the temples and the mortal world, and starts to kind of understand him. She eats the 6 pomegranate seeds. So when Demeter finds out that Persephone is in the underworld and requests that Hades bring her back to the mortal world, and they go before Zeus, Zeus is like, I'm going to be the good guy here and mediate. Persephone's going to spend 6 months in the underworld, which is the cause of our winter months, our harvest and winter months. And she's going to spend 6 months in the mortal world, which are our spring and summer months, because she is the goddess of growth and spring and flowers. So despite it being June and actually being the solstice, the highest point of summer, yeah, this is exactly it. Persephone is in the underworld? No, that would make it winter solstice.
Yeah, she's in the underworld in the movie.
Like, really? So there's strike 1. Strike 2. Hades is doting and exceedingly loving hubby to Persephone. Like, they are like relationship goals. He treats her as the queen that she deserves to be and is. Their relationship is one, like, once they get on beyond Demeter hating the son-in-law, you kidnapped me, they work through all that trauma and they become the rightful rulers of the underworld. Persephone has equal footing. Her throne is equal to Hades' throne.
Yeah.
There is no abusive relationship and hatred between Persephone and Hades.
No.
Persephone isn't even in the book because it's June.
No.
If they had followed this, the movie would have been one increment better. I did like their outfit, aesthetics, though.
Yeah, that was fine.
That was fun. That was fun. Like, the whole, hard rocker thing was fun.
Yeah.
Strike 3. There's no Cerberus.
Yeah, where was our good boy?
Our puppy was missing. They took the dog out. The dog.
And then there's the matter of Persephone's pearls.
Persephone's pearls? I don't remember those from Greek myth.
That is because they're not in Greek myths, Miss Sarah.
Now, I remember something from the book called Poseidon's Pearls.
You are correct, Miss Sarah. There were Poseidon pearls. The movie kind of invents this reason for why they're going cross country, even though it didn't really need to do that, where the Percy, Annabeth, and Grover are going on a scavenger hunt to find Persephone's pearls, which Luke tells them are kind of these magical pearls that Persephone has placed throughout America for her lovers.
She doesn't have any other lovers. Hades is enough.
Yes. But yeah, she puts them there for her lovers so that they can get in and out of the underworld safely. Going off of the idea that she has lovers and she wants them to get in and out of the underworld safely, why in the world would she hide one in Medusa's lair, have the Hydra guarding another one, and put the third one in the Lotus Flower Casino, where as soon as you step in, you never want to leave? Does she not want her lovers to show up at all?
Oh, I have an idea.
Yes.
Maybe Hades actually knows about the pearls and moves them to those locations so she doesn't have her lovers visit her.
Alternate headcanon. It's to protect herself from people that don't know how to take no for an answer. So she's like, yeah, sure. You can come down to the underworld. Oh, first you should get this pearl.
I like that, yeah.
That I put
This would make a much better movie.
That I've put in this really cool casino. And that way you'll be able to get in and out without Hades.
You're here, so you're closest. So you're in Washington. Your closest one is in this stone garden.
Yeah, why don't you go there and get this pearl so Hades doesn't know, and yeah, it'll be great.
And then Hades and Persephone just laugh at them.
Yeah.
Because that's what they would do.
Well, we'll never see them again.
Yep. So actually, I really like the book version. These are actually Poseidon's pearls. Nereid tells Percy about them. And they are actually meant to transport you back to the sea. Her line is, what belongs to the sea returns to the sea. So the idea is that when you step on it, it returns you to the closest ocean, salt water, body of water. Mm-hmm. So what happens is when they step on these in the underworld, it takes them to Santa Monica Bay. Thank you, readers, for listening. I hope you are interested. If you haven't read Percy Jackson, you should. Absolutely. It is a great series, and you should do it before this summer if you're a local to Rehoboth.
Yeah, isn't the theme of this year's summer reading challenge oceanography?
It is. And welcome to the oceans of possibility.
And who is Percy's father again?
The god of the sea. What's his name? Poseidon. But join us this summer because we are going to be delving into the mythology and world of Percy Jackson.